results. We'll get more into this match, but we do have a guest that's going to be joining us here, and it'll be their first time on the show, so we don't want to keep them waiting too long. This guest scored an amazing free kick early on in the season. I think that surprised many of us. If it didn't, then what are you watching? And that's none other than Nico Benalcazar, the defensive midfielder, whatever you may call for Orange County Soccer Club. Let's welcome him on. Nico, let's get you onto the show. How are you doing, Nico?
Yes, we can.
Guys, thanks so much for having me on. Nice to meet you
There we
guys.
go. Nice to meet you, Nico. First and foremost, welcome to our show, and welcome to Orange County officially. I know first season here with the club. How's the transition been for you? How are you fitting in here with this team, this group of players? How are you feeling?
No, it's been great so far. Coming here, I mean, like, the weather. I always emphasize that part. It's been great. I feel like anywhere you can play, in the hot weather, the sun, all the time, almost every day. I think it makes the transition much easier. But with the group, I've a lot of good friends now on the team after being here for 2.5 months now. So, it's been a great transition so far. I'm having a lot of fun.
So you talk about the weather. So what is it about playing in the warmer weather? Because when you watch this sport, it takes place all over the world, and you have some countries that are really good and have really strong, powerful leagues that are really cold weather climate countries. What is it for you as a soccer player that you prefer playing in the warmer weather as opposed to maybe that colder weather that you see some other players thrive in?
Yeah, of course. I mean, even at home, from Connecticut, where I'm from, it's cold most of the year. So I feel like just getting out of that and playing, in the sun, it reminds me of when I was little and going to, Florida, those summer camps where it's, more fun. You're having a good time, and I feel like every morning I wake up here, it's, I'm having a good time playing again in the sun. So I would say that's probably the main reason why I say playing in the sun is much better. But obviously, like you had said, you just got to add a few more layers on in those other countries where it's colder.
Uh, Let me ask you this: What intrigued you about joining Orange County from where you've been previously, or what was it about Orange County that you're like, that's the team I want to go play for, other than the weather?
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, Orange County has always been a huge team in the USL. I know. I mean, they won the league in 2021. Even last year, towards the end of last year, the team was looking really good. And I had a good friend who played here, Ian Hoffman, and we grew up in the same town. Uh, Throughout my time in Connecticut, we grew up in Wilton, Connecticut together. So he had nothing but good things to say about here. So, with a combination of all those things, and just especially the way they want to play and how we want to continue to play this year, it's been something that was very appealing to me, towards the end of last year.
And again, in our introduction or introducing you to the show, I talked about the amazing free kick that you took. When did you realize that that's something that you are proficient at? And what was it like being the new player, the newcomer on this team, and stepping into that type of position? Because typically that's sort of a hierarchy. It's hard to just jump into that role. What was it about everything there that is like, this is Nico's kick and he's going to make it?
Yeah, of course. Ever since I first stepped foot here, especially during preseason, during training, people stay afterwards, do their PKs, do their free kicks, do extra things. And, my whole life, I pretty much worked on my free kicks. Never really taken many of them, but I've always known that I've been, pretty good at them. So, I got here. The first two preseason games, I was on free kicks. We didn't get a chance to take any, but, my name was on them. So, it was sort of, it wasn't necessarily like a, hey, I want to do it, let me take it. It was more so it was just, told to us before the game. So it was lucky enough I didn't have to fight anyone off the ball, and I was able to take it, make it. It was definitely a long road of training up until that point to make it. And I would say my parents being there as well gave me a little bit more extra motivation to really focus and hit it well.
Glad that you were okay. I think
Yeah.
everyone saw you slip, and I panicked when I saw that. But Nico, in addition to apparently being great with free kicks, you're rather versatile of a player. I think Saturday marks the third position you've played. Is that something that you look at as a strength, or is it just something where you're happy to fill whatever role it is, as long as that you're playing?
Yeah, I always say, playing anywhere on the field is, where I want to be. I just want to be on the field, helping the team as much as I can. I definitely think it's a strength, and having that trust from Danny, the coaching staff to put me wherever, I think is a good thing. But also, a lot of people always ask me, what position you think you're best at, and I always just say I'm a soccer player. So, put me wherever, and I'll do my best. And I've watched a lot of soccer growing up. I've played a lot growing up, so it's been a combination of all those things where it's, understand how to play here because I've watched it so much, and I understand how to play, even at midfield sometimes because I've watched the game a lot. So it's definitely a strength, I would say, especially now with, injuries all over the field, pretty much, and, having to step up in different spots, not knowing who's going to be where, having those multiple positions in my bag is definitely something good.
You've talked a few times now, or you've mentioned a few times now about growing up and kind of your path to Orange County. It's not exactly like you're an unknown quality. Obviously, you're the captain at Wake Forest, but you know where where have things gone, and what led you, kind of Orange County at this point in your life?
Yeah, no, like you had said, I think my career as a whole hasn't necessarily been, as linear or perfect like many other people that I've seen, or a few of my good buddies from the academy, even at New York City FC. But I would say that I have been extremely fortunate in places that I have played. I played 2 years after school at New York. Very possession based style of football, and something that I grew up playing in. All the old coaches, all my old teammates, were pretty much on the team. And even last year, towards Cincinnati, where it was definitely a different, formation, but in terms of how they wanted to play, very possession based, and playing especially on the first team through Lucho Acosta, who to this day I say is the best player I've seen in real life. So I would say a combination of all those things, being able to be versatile and playing all these different positions, like you were saying before. Um, I would say definitely led me to coming here and being able to perform in the way that I have so far.
Nico, when you were growing up, did you have a specific player that you modeled your game after?
Yeah, so my whole life I've been a Barca fan. I've been an Iniesta fan. I think how he plays is amazing. I've always played. I grew up playing, the 10 side, so I feel like I always want to go forward, move forward. But as started to get a bit older and started playing center back more often, I really enjoyed watching Puyol and PK because they were Barca players. But at the same time, Sergio Ramos, who he is on the opposite team, from Real Madrid. Even though he was on that team, he always, intrigued me, and that smartness as well as that physicality and stuff that he brings and leadership that he brings, I think definitely stood out to me, and he's been one of my favorite players ever since.
All right. One question from chat. So, how do you prepare yourself for a game?
Yeah, so I would say it pretty much starts for me mentally, the day before. I tend to always eat the same thing the night before, whether it's, rice and chicken or pasta and chicken. I think it just changes based on how I'm feeling that day or whatever I have for lunch that day as well. I try and have the opposite. And then the day of, I normally just hang out. It depends if I have, my family here. I tend to go eat breakfast with them and sort of have a chill pretty much morning. Um, and then I always take a nap before the game, whether it's an hour, an hour and a half, just to get my mind right. Obviously hop in the shower after that, and after that it's pretty much go time. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's any crazy superstitions. I know during my time at Wake, I was super had to do this, and then I just got in my head if I didn't do something correctly. So I sort of took a step back from that, and started to play a bit more freely because it felt like if you're going to just play, pick up with your buddies, I felt like I always played the best there. So I've sort of tried to bring that feeling towards the games here.
Okay. So, maybe tougher question. So, a couple rough results lately. What do you kind of do to try to, whether it's kind of just a little extra work, or what do you guys try to do to kind of get things right or turn things around when you're in kind of a bad run of form or a bad, the team's just not, things just aren't going right for the team?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely not the stretch that we want to be on, but I think the confidence in the group is still super high. I know we were talking about in training today. The past 5 days have been pretty tough. Obviously, you never want to lose any game, regardless of where you play. But at the same time, the team works hard, every day. I don't think we come into training saying, hey, we have to work a bit harder because we do that every day. But I would say in terms of me personally, I always want to, try and go above and beyond whatever I do to try and help the team. So whether it's, stay and, work on left foot passes or right foot passes, or, hey, I saw this a lot, in the last game that we played against them. Let's try and work on this, leading up to the game. So I would say, the assistant coaches, the head coach, they give us time after training to sort of pick out something that we want to work on, and we go pretty much from there. But in terms of actual drills, actual stuff that we do during training, it stays pretty much consistent. I think we all know that we have a job to do. We have to win games, and I think moving forward we'll be doing that. So
All right, easy question, then a harder question. New York food or Orange County food?
I would say New York pizza is very good. I would say generally speaking, all the food over there is good, but over here the Mexican food is pretty unbelievable. So I would say half and half for sure.
Well, we'll always have that.
Yeah,
And then New Haven pizza or New York pizza?
New Haven pizza.
All right. Ray, you got some?
Uh,
Dylan?
yeah, I'm gonna jump in here, Nico. We're gonna keep on with the food. What is your favorite vegetable, and how do you prepare it?
Favorite vegetable. I really like carrots. I actually just finished eating it, so it's definitely probably still in my mind. But I like to cook it in the oven. It's a little softer and a little crunchier on the outside. Not I don't like eating them, cold, but I like them, pretty hot. We had them a lot growing up, so I would say probably carrots.
Fair enough. If you couldn't tell, you've definitely passed the difficult part of this interview, and it's all either downhill or easier from here, depending on how you look at it. Ray, take it away.
Well, since Dylan didn't get into the topic, this next topic, I will. It's a two-parter here. So first is if you were to open up your Spotify, Apple, iTunes Music, whatever you use to listen to music, what song is probably playing right now?
Right now, so I'm a huge Drake fan. So Nokia is one of his new songs. It's more upbeat. I've been listening to a lot before games just to get in a good mood. So um, probably Nokia by Drake right now.
Awesome. So then this is another question we've asked players in the past. I'll ask you this: who has the best taste in music out of your teammates?
I would say Scylla. Uh, he's Uzman Scylla. That's we call him. Sorry, I call him Scylla. It's very Afrobeat related. Some French, is hidden in there as well. But he, we hang out a lot, and he's always in charge of the speakers. So I would say he has a very good taste in music.
And then who are you hoping does not get the opportunity to plug in their phone into the aux system in the dressing room? Who are you hoping you don't have to hear their music?
I would probably say Mohammed War, because mainly you'll probably get a little bit of Japanese music, which no one really understands. But I would say it's very very old school. He has a lot of throwbacks. But yeah, probably Mo for sure.
All right, really quick before I get into my last little bit, there are some questions on
Okay,
Instagram that have come through. One of
nice.
them is from Nico Cesar Tadeo. Basically asked, now that you're with OC, are you aware of the great opportunities players have to go to Europe, and does that motivate you more to perform well here in OC?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think in the back of everyone's mind, you always want to try and maximize your career and move up in any way you can. Obviously, I would say it's right now, especially how we're moving as a team, it's probably in the back of my mind. I think it's more important we focus on, the team doing well as a whole. And I think once we start winning games, more individuals will start to get more recognized. So I would say, the better we do here with Orange County, which is where my mind is at right now, the hopefully better it would be in the future for sure.
And then also on Instagram, someone by the name of Grace and Duty is asking if you have any superpower, or if you could have any superpower, what would it be? And I'm going to add why.
Why? I would say I would probably say be able to fly. One, because the gas here in California is unbelievably expensive, so it's terrible to drive and then having to pay for the gas. But then two, I mean, just to get places quick. I mean, I think Birds definitely have it way easier than us.
Awesome. One last thing we're going to do here, and then we'll start wrapping things up, is we like to do this quick rapid fire 10 questions, this or that. You give the first answer that comes to your mind. Don't think about it. Quick
Yeah.
response. This is just to help our fans know. And this is just total fun. There's a little bit of a theme going on here. I'm sure y'all will be able to figure this out. Are you ready, Nico?
Perfect. Let's do it.
And Matt sort of took my first question slightly, but it's slightly different. And, tell me if I'm wrong, if I do anything wrong with pronunciation here. But first question, New Haven style beets or California style pizza?
New Haven style beats for sure.
Awesome. Rocky Long Island Sound beaches or the sandy beaches of the Pacific Ocean?
I'm gonna have to go with the sandy beaches of the Pacific Ocean.
All right. Vibrant fall foliage or mild sunny autumn days?
Mild sunny autumn days.
Yukon Huskies basketball or Anaheim Ducks hockey?
Yukon basketball.
Lobster rolls or fish tacos?
Lobster rolls.
4 distinct seasons or pretty much warm and sunny year round?
4 seasons. 100%.
Hiking through forests or surfing?
Hiking through forests.
All right. Metro North commuter rail or driving along PCH?
That's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go Metro North because it passes the
Awesome.
water, passes through the city, has everything.
There we go. Historic and traditional or laid back and trendy?
Laid back and trendy.
All right. And the last one, scoring the big goal or making the big stop to save the match?
Definitely making the big stop.
Awesome. And if you didn't know, most of those questions were basically Connecticut versus Orange County,
Yeah,
California related questions. So that's where we went with that. With that, I believe that is everything we have here, Nico. Do you have any last words you want to share with those listening live or those that may be listening later on in the recorded option of this? What do you have to say to the fans?
Yeah, no, first, thanks to you guys for inviting me. This has been awesome. I've been, keeping up. I saw Tom's rapid questions. I saw Grayson's, he did it in the living room while I was there. So no, it's been a great experience so far being here in Orange County. Thanks to all the fans. We'll do our best to turn this around, and looking forward to seeing you guys all at the game on Saturday.
Awesome. Well, everyone, this has been Orange County's utility man playing all over the pitch, Nico Benalcazar. Thank you, as always, Nico, for joining us, and best of luck to you and the team heading into the first match of the Jägermeister Cup this coming weekend against Las Vegas.
Thank you so much. Great meeting you guys.
Thanks, Nico.
Awesome.
See you guys.